Mariners fans, how are we doing? This is a little bit of an added video talking about something that I mentioned at the back end of my review of the weekend's game, and why I said even though Town lie in 5th in League 2, why I don't rate them at the minute to be a playoff team, but I said that they look pretty good to possibly be a top 10 team. And as to why you don't sort of want to get carried away right now. First of all, I'd like to just say that I stand by my pre-season prediction when I put them down as 13th. I would still be happy enough if we finished around about there. But there is, shall we say, a method to my thought process as to why I cannot quite at this moment put them in the top 5 or playoff. Why they're not playoff runners right now for me. Because if we look at the league table right now, as we can see, Grimsby Town are in 5th. Now, at the moment, you're thinking, I've heard some fans say we're going to win the league. I think some of that may be a bit tongue-in-cheek, which I'm sure it is. But also, we're only 6 points off the top, like I said. Whereas, we lie in 5th. It's a good start. We play the team directly above us at the weekend, but here is why I won't put them as a playoff contender just yet. And my simple reason for that is, if we look at the top 10 as they are now, I'll just read you through the teams. You've got Walsall at top, Port Vale, Doncaster, Crewe, Wimbledon, MK Dons, Chesterfield, Notts County and Gillingham. The reason why I don't put them as playoff contenders just yet is down to our consistency against the decent sides. To be honest, our record against teams in the top 10 so far, MK Dons we've lost, Doncaster we've lost, Walsall we've lost, Chesterfield we've lost, Notts County we've lost. There's 2 teams in the top 10. I'm not going to add Wimbledon to this because when we played Wimbledon they weren't in the top 10, so I'm only going to class Gillingham, who are in 10th, as the only team in the top 10 Town have beaten, and that was away from home. What I need to see before I can say Town are possible playoff contenders is picking results up against teams. Excuse me, I'm just going to sit up. Against teams that are in and around us. The reason why I believe we can be top 10 is because our record against the bottom 10, 11, really good. We beat Bromley, we beat Cheltenham, we drew with Newport, we beat Accrington, we beat Tranmere, we beat Morecambe, we beat Carlisle, we beat Salford, we beat Bradford. And obviously second time round, you never know. I think Barrow's the only... there's only 2 teams outside the top 10 that have actually beaten us this season, that being Barrow and Fleetwood. So, and Colchester, so we can't forget the Colchester defeat. But I think Town can definitely challenge for top 10, most definitely. This will decide, for me, where Town are. And we should, by this point, know whether we are realistically top 10 contenders or are we playoff contenders. It's not this month. This month is Crewe at home, Swindon away, Harrogate at home, and Port Vale at home. Now, if we can get anything against either Crewe or Port Vale, that is where I'm looking at the results for Grimsby. Don't mean we've got to beat either of them, but if we can get a result against them, then maybe draw against one and maybe lose to the other one, you know, or win against, let's say, win against Crewe, and then maybe drop points against Vale. I'm not saying we will, but this is my point as to why I class as a top 10 team, but not a playoff team yet. It goes from January the 4th, because our fixtures over January are the games that we always struggle against, or we had done in the first part of the season. And this is why we have Bradford, we have Notts County, Chesterfield, Barrow, and Gillingham, alongside Accrington. But if you look at Bradford, Notts County, Chesterfield, Barrow, and Gillingham, the first go around we'd only beaten 2 of those, and we lost the others. That was to Notts County, to Chesterfield, and to Barrow. If we can start getting a few results against a team like a Notts County at Blundell Park, or a Chesterfield at Blundell Park, or get a draw against, even at worst, a draw against Crewe at the weekend. If we can start getting results against teams around us, maybe come February I might look at us as playoff contenders at the best. I don't know what you guys think about it, because I know a lot of fans are getting excited because, you know, we're 5th as it stands, and deservedly so. And here's where I look at teams like Port Vale and Walsall, who are top of the division, and I'm going to look at the leaders as in Walsall and give an example why I put them. You can ask them what the top contenders, because they're 2 points clear of Port Vale. Now here's the reason why. Not only is it because they're good at home, they're picking up points against their rivals. They're up there with, you know, in the last 2 weeks, they beat Notts County and they beat Port Vale at Port Vale. You can't look at them and say they're not, to be honest with you, promotion contenders at the very least right now. Title contenders, probably too early to tell right now with them. But with us, I think we could be, and I think we will be, top 10 contenders. But I just don't know at the moment whether, even though we lie in 5th, whether I can confidently say or believe that we are playoff contenders. We need to be getting results against teams around us. And that doesn't mean always wins. That means results. You know, if you look at the next 10 games, they're quite difficult on paper. But I think by the end of January, we will know roughly where Grimsby are as a team. Obviously, that'll be the end of the window as well. But we'll have a good idea as to where Grimsby are roughly going to be. You know, 3 games in the next 6 weeks are against teams in the lower part of the league. You know what I mean? The rest are all, the lowest team that we play is 13th, and that's Barrow. So that sort of indicates to me that this 6 week period I think will show what we're going to be playing for. I do think top 10 is possible. Playoffs, not too sure. I'll know probably by the time we hit February, because then we go into an easier section by then. So that is why. The only reason why I don't put them at the minute as playoff contenders, I'm not saying we're in a false position, but we're not in a position where I can go, we're playoff contenders, because what we've been good at so far under David Artell, and I will give Artell some credit here, is we are good at getting results against the teams we should get results against. Okay, we've had the anomalies of maybe the Fleetwood and obviously the Colchester result, and the home form in general, but I don't want to go on about home or away form in general. Look at this as a whole. Fifth might flatter us a little bit, but we have lately, actually under Artell, to be completely fair, we have been beating the teams that we should. The Carlisles, the Morecambes, the Accringtons, which Town normally struggle against, and especially away from home. Hopefully now we seem to have found a ruthless streak. But I want to know what you guys think. What do Mariners fans around the UK, around Great Britain, of course, and around the globe? What do you think? I mean, we lie fifth at the minute. I wouldn't class it as a comfortable fifth, but we lie fifth. Do you think there's a playoff chance? Or are you like me thinking, well, let's see if we can start doing it against the teams around us? So that is from Walsall down to Barrow, really. And if we can, start picking results up against them as well. Bearing in mind, I've just said results. I'm not saying we've got to win every single time, but if we can start getting results against them, then I think we could be a playoff contender. But I will say at the moment, I think we can be top 10. I feel that. I feel like we can definitely be top 10. But I wouldn't be disappointed if we finished where I put us. Where do you guys think? Where do you guys think Town can finish? Realistically. And if you think playoffs, why do you think playoffs? But I've just got that tinge of caution because of our record against the better sides in this league has not been good. Really, it's been really, apart from Gillingham, we haven't beat anybody that was in the top 5 at the time. And, obviously our record against other teams at home mainly, but, hasn't been that great. So, are you guys with me? Are Town playoff contenders right now? Or are you like me in thinking that we are possibly top 10? Still early to tell, but I think January will give us a good idea as to where Town may finish. Because, like I said, if you look at January's fixtures, they're all against teams around where we are now. So you look at the Crewe and Port Vale in December, you've got the caveat of Harrogate and Swindon in between those. And I mean, nothing's a given. No game is a given. But can we push for that top 7 place? I will make my decision probably about mid-February whether we are really a playoff contender. But I do think that we could be a top 10 contender. And it's only because of our record against the better sides in this division hasn't been great. So that's the only reason. And if you look at it, every time we've played a decent side, we'll say at Blundell Park, or when we play a decent side, really, we haven't got points against them. So that's why I think January is key. I'll just go you through January again. We've obviously got Accrington on New Year's Day, but after that we go to Bradford, we host Notts County, we host Chesterfield, we go to Barrow, and we host Gillingham. All in January. That obviously be during the transfer window as well. So we will be trying to obviously get players in and maybe move a couple of players out. But that could be a crucial period. These next 6 weeks could be a crucial period. If we were to beat Swindon and Harrogate, for example, and then but we were to lose to Crewe and lose to Port Vale, it would probably say, yeah, top 10, definitely a possibility, top 7, maybe not. But that's why I take these next 6 weeks as a bit of a ballpark figure, and could go a long way in deciding where Grimsby Town can finish. I know it's early in the season still. Well, actually, it's not. It's nearly halfway through. So I was saying it's still early. It still is early in one regard, but obviously we're in the busy period, the Christmas period and the New Year period. And I did see some man saying we've got it together at home. Not quite yet, but you can't fault fifth. So the question I put to you lot one last time is, if you look at that, are Town a top 10 team, or can they go higher, and are they a playoff team? For me, not just yet. But January could give us a very, very, very good idea as to whether we can, not saying we will, but whether we can have a playoff push. I think that will more or less decide whether we can. Doesn't mean that we will, but whether we can be classed as a playoff contender. Top 10 contender, yes, I think we definitely can be that. I think we can finish top 10, especially by the way we're performing away from home. It's, can we push for that top 7? And I'm asking the question now because I'm sure looking at the league table, some fans will be going, why can't we make the playoffs? It's against the better sides that only keeps me level. Headed to go, well, against the better sides, we're not picking results up. So it's, can we do that against the Crews, against the Chesterfields, against the Port Vales, against the Notts Counties? And we probably won't win all of the next 10. I'm not expecting that. I think that's unrealistic. But can we get, are we a result away against a good side to maybe make that little bit of a turn? But it's not about doing it in a one-off. It's about getting results. That's why if you look at the next 10, I think that is where that will decide where we might finish, or we've got a good chance of finishing. And January is that. So it's over to you guys. Let me know down below what you think. Do you think the Mariners are still going to be mid-table? Which I think a lot of people will probably say no to that. Are we a top 10 team? Could we be a top 10 team? Or could we push for a playoff place? Like I've said, for me, not just yet. We'll see how the next 6 weeks go, and then I'll and obviously how the transfer window goes. Then we'll look at where we are after January the 28th. And my opinion might change, your opinion might change. But the only real note of caution I would say to everybody is let's not get carried away. Let's believe, obviously, but let's not get carried away. And I'm sure a lot of fans won't be, but let's not get carried away. We need to do it against the better sides as well as the lower sides. And one other thing, we've got it away from home. We've got a way of playing away from home. It's now getting that at home. But guys, what do you think? Are we mid-table? Are we top 10, which I think, or do you think that we already are playoff contender? Let me know down below in the comments. It'll be interesting to get you guys' views on this. It was something that was a burning question I had over the weekend. You know, how do people feel now knowing that Grimsby are fifth? And I've given you my reasoning as to why I don't think we're a playoff contender yet. Whether that is kind of like being a bit of a spoil sport. I'm also a realist, you know, but will my opinion change after January? Who knows? What's your opinion now with Town lying in fifth with some tough fixtures coming up, like I said? Crewe next and Port Vale at the end of the month. Those games could be key as well. Can Town get something against them? You know, and if they do, will my opinion change early? So let me know down below what you think. Can Town tackle for a playoff place, or is top 10 more realistic? I think top 10 is a lot more realistic for now. And like I said, I still wouldn't be unhappy if we ended 13th. And I wouldn't. In general, I wouldn't. Because that's where I put them to start with. So I'm not going to be, if we do finish there, I'm not going to be too disappointed. But guys, let me know down below. Where do you think Town will finish? Are they now a playoff contender? Or are they a top 10 contender? Or are you still being more reserved? But for me, no, Town are not yet a playoff contender until we see what they can do against the top 10 sides, or, I'll be more specific, the teams around them. Then we'll know really where Town stand. In that case, it is more like a top half finish is definitely more than acceptable. To say we'll get a top half finish, but let me know down below what you think. Where are Town going to finish? How do you feel this has come out? I'll come back and do a video with some of this after the Christmas fixtures. But let me know down below what you think. I just wanted to put my opinion down as to why I don't think Town are playoff contenders yet. And I've used the word yet because there's no reason, in a sense, if we have a good January, why we can't maybe look up a bit further. But as you know, football is football. Town's only going to go into a slight dip, or we've got to just be winning games. Let me know down below what you think. I'll be back with a preview for the Crewe game towards the end of the weekend. Any other news that comes out known from Grimsby Town, of course, I'll give you any news that does come out of Grimsby Town. Obviously, with January coming up as well, there is obviously the transfer window, so I will keep right across that for you guys. Thank you for the few messages that I've had in regards to me coming back. I really appreciate that. Anybody that has messaged me and said, nice to see you back. And, thank you for those messages. I appreciate that. I want to do more videos like this as well to ask for your opinions. So that's the first one. Do you think Town are playoff contenders, or are you like me, just going to hold your excitement back and see how January goes against the teams around us? Like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys for the Crew preview. Like I said, they come out normally after the pre-match press conferences that David Artell takes a part of. And let me know what your thoughts are after now lying fifth. Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the Crew preview. Up until then, guys, up the Mariners. And there we go. Oh, it's going to be, I need to get some lighting in here. I'll see you guys soon. Ta-da.